How you gonna change the things around you? Oh, what you gonna love inside of you? Oh, when you gonna hear his revelation? Oh, oh, let it move inside of you.
Yeah. That's
Good
that
evening,
looks like you,
everyone.
Linda.
Yes, that was absolutely Linda. And good evening, everyone. And welcome back to Infinite Perspectives, where voices become vision. I'm Michelle Diamond, author of the Becoming Trilogy, brand architect, board level leader, and co founder of Infinite Perspectives brand. And I'm honored to hold this amazing space alongside my co host, co founder, and sister in vision and love, the amazing Linda Boston.
Thank you so much, Michelle. He's awesome too. And I'm Linda Boston. We're grateful to share this space with you this evening. And as we continue our conversations centered on reflection, growth, and expanded awareness, I want you to remember that you are the change you seek.
Absolutely. And Infinite Perspectives is proudly brought to you by Peer Incorporated, Next Level Promotion, a division of Infinite Perspectives brand, Moniker Enterprises, Carlotta the brand, and Unlimited Networks Property Management.
Right. And each week we invite thoughtful voices into this space to explore meaningful topics that encourage reflection, understanding, and expanded awareness in our lives.
Yes, and we are truly honored for tonight's special guest. He is an actor, an artist, a storyteller, the incredible Walter Fauntleroy.
Yes.
Thank,
Now,
thank you, ladies, for having me.
well, wait a minute. Now, folks need to know that they may recognize you a little bit, but they need to know that your craft, presence, and a spiritual inquiry rooted in nearly 3 decades of marriage to the wonderful, beautiful Nikki, and a lifelong
Yes,
pursuit in growth. He approaches storytelling as a practice of witness.
absolutely. And whether he's on screen or in conversation, Walter explores themes of faith, masculinity, and what endures, creating space for reflection and meaning.
And his work reminds us that story does more than entertain. It reconnects us to who we are and invites us to live awake, okay, grounded, okay, and fully present.
Walter, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Welcome to Infinite Perspectives. We are truly honored to have you with us tonight.
I'm truly happy to be here. Thank you, ladies, for having me.
Absolutely. So, we always talk about everyone's journey to where they are presently. Before the titles and before the work, who was Walter Fauntleroy when no one was watching? And how did that version of you shape the man that we see today?
All right now.
I am. I like to say that I am the same person, but just expanded, evolved. That aspect of me, the childlike nature that made me dream and believe, it's still there. It's still in my core. It's still the root and of who I am, and that's where I tap into every day through meditation, typically twice a day, to reconnect with that infinite source that I am. I come from Luther Jr. and Fauntleroy and Helen Marie Hall. Uh, Two young people that fell in love at first sight, or at least for my dad. And then they had Reggie and Walter not too long after. My dad was a career military man. So he got out of the military, but re-enlisted when I was young. I was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We lived at McGuire Air Force Base, Fort Dix for a while. And then 3 years later, I was in Japan. Yeah, I was in Okinawa, Japan. And before I moved, I almost died. I had a fall, and I had a brain seizure. And the tripped out part is before, when we were in Jersey, the fall happened. It seemed like everything was okay. We went to Dallas to travel from Jersey to San Diego to fly to Japan. And in the process of the travel, I fell in Dallas, hit my head again. By the time we get to San Diego, I'm sleeping with my dad's military guy family. And Chief's wife just happened to be a nurse. Now, I never slept with my parents when I was growing up. That my dad didn't allow that. But this particular occasion, we were in the bed with my mother and father, and my mother heard me making a sound as if I was laughing. And she was like, baby, in the middle of the night. So she rolled over and was like, baby, what are you laughing at? And she looked over and saw me, and my eyes were rolling in the back of my head. I was seizing to the point of almost dying. And it just so happened that Chief's wife was an Army, and she rushed in, did something to me. And then they rushed me to the hospital. I was in the hospital for like 3 weeks. The doctor said if we had been in the air, because of the change of altitude, I would have died on the plane. But then when I started awakening and coming to myself around 4, 5, 6, because I'm in Japan, I'm this little black boy, and here's this Far Eastern culture influencing me as a human being before understanding who I was as a black man. So that has been, I think, at the core of my being from the very beginning. In terms of spirituality, I've always been a spiritually inclined individual, but also a truancy kid, finding my way from the darkness to the light. I guess that's the best way to sum it up in a nutshell.
Right. So can I ask you to slow that back down a little bit, because you gave a lot right in the beginning.
Oh, I thought I was going really slow.
No. I want us to understand something, because I've heard experiences before with the seizures and what experiences that they have. So slowing it down for that experience, can you take us back into that and let us know what that experience in itself felt like, or did you come out of that with any profound meaning? Because I've heard so many stories surfacing around that. Did you have any kind of experience in that moment?
Well, I was about 3 years old. I do have some memories of being in a hospital bed, and I remember the bars, and I remember they had to put something over it, because at that age, I like to climb. That's basically how I felt. And so I was, able to climb out of the hospital bed that they had me in. But I have very vague memories of that. But the tripped out part is, around that same age, I almost drowned. And I remember this specifically because my god brother Andre jumped in the pool. He did a cannonball. He was like, "Walt, can you do this?" He was in his apartment pool. And I ran and jumped in, but nobody pulled me out. So I went right to the bottom of the pool. And I remember it. And I remember being on the bottom of the pool, but there was like, it's hard to explain, but something felt like it was with me. And something said, the stairs to the left, you got to walk towards the stairs. Maybe like I was about 3 years old.
Wow.
So I'm walking underwater to the stairs, and something inherently, I inherently knew to hold my breath somehow. I don't know. I just remember it. And it felt like being in space or something, because I'm a little kid walking under the water, somehow knowing to hold my breath, just until I could get to the stairs. And I remember climbing up out of the stairs, finally laying on that hot concrete with the water running on my face, my nose burning, and feeling like, wow, that was, I don't know what that was, because it stayed with me. Then when I was 6, I almost died again. I got hit by a car.
Oh my God.
And I went up in the air, landed on the ground. The guy got out of the car, white dude. We were in Okinawa, Japan. He came running at me. Oh my God, oh my God. I wasn't hurt, but him yelling and running at me scared the living daylights out of me. And I started crying.
Wow.
When they took me to the hospital, my dad took me. They pulled up the hospital bed, and the rail of the bed wasn't the same as the bed as when I had my brain seizure, but it freaked me out. The memory came flooding back all of a sudden, and I hadn't remembered it in maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow. Yeah.
I got another one for you later, but we'll get to that.
Well, yeah. All of that in conjunction with going through puberty and adolescence probably did some things to you. Was there a moment in your life where all of this became your storytelling and storytelling stopped and became something that you, instead of something you did, it was something that you needed? Because it's almost like I'm hearing that in all of these different layers of story in your life and coming close to crossing over to the other side. It makes me think
exactly.
That's what you needed, was to tell story.
Possibly.
Right. And not to Miss Tika Deshawn said, wow, sir, you are here for a reason.
Yes.
You have the floor.
Yeah, I believe that. I think too, I don't think there's any coincidences in life. I have I have a wonderful family. I have a wonderful mother and father, but we're all flawed, right? I like to do that knock. See, that's the allure of before, constantly knocking at our door. And unless we're specific about what we're going to answer, we're going to get the same thing over and over and over, right? So in my family, there was a lot of abuse that wasn't considered abuse. And so I grew up in an abusive household. And you spoke to the teenage years, Linda. And so when I was around 11 or 12, I started doing push-ups at about 3 or 4 years old, because I would see the cartoons, Popeye Gets Strong, the Jerry's Cousin, you know, Incredible Hulk. And so I just assumed that muscles would protect me. And so I started doing a lot of push-ups, thousands and hundreds of push-ups a day. So by the time I got to be a teenager, I was like 15, 16, like doing 104 push-ups in a minute. I was strong, but I was getting strong to protect myself. It was becoming like the armor. But when I was around 11 and 12, I don't know if all the trauma that I had dealt with was affecting me, because I started developing breast. So I started developing gynecomastia, which is male tits, to be, you know, a sharp term. And so then they went away. But when I was around 14 or 15, they started coming back, and they started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So I was about an A or a B cup, but I was muscular. And I've never done drugs or anything like that, ever. And I didn't know what was going on with me. And eventually, so it made me very, 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 very self-conscious. Because I was an athlete. When I played football, I was fine because I had my shoulder pads on, no one could see. But I was also a varsity wrestler. And this is when I lived in Germany at the time then. And so we would travel far distances. You would travel and wrestle against people, you know, that weren't familiar. And it was a lot of teasing, and, you know, it just wasn't it was a very difficult time for me during those years. But at the same time, I was tough. So it would set me off. A lot of trouble.
You know, this is absolutely incredible. And I agree with the viewers and what they're saying. You know, you are definitely here for a reason. Your experiences speak volumes. And I could see why you are the person you are today. So humble, and we're grateful for that. Doing our research, we saw that you described storytelling as a practice of witness. And you've been a witness to so many things since 3 already.
Yes.
What have you had to face within yourself or to truly witness a story without hiding inside performance?
I face myself. I
Mm.
think that's everyone's biggest challenge, the man in the mirror. And it's not to use the Michael Jackson cliche, but it is. Your biggest opponent is the
Mirror
man
work.
or the person in the mirror. When I was little, I think it was an Eastern term that says, you give me a man or the boy until he's 7, and I'll show you the man. You give me the person until they're 7. Typically, people live out of that for the rest of their lives. And I think that we all have a cross to bear. And
Mm.
that's ourselves. It's ourselves. It's our own human experience.
Yes.
There's one world, but there's many worlds within that world, right? Like I could take a drop of ocean water out of the ocean, and if you take away the ocean disappeared. That drop of water contains everything that the ocean is, and that's what we are.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
spiritual beings having a human experience. And so I think it's important to recognize the I am that I am. It's like when Moses came to this moment in his life experience, God told him that I'm the God of your forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Joseph. But they only knew God as we all first learned God and his power and the destructive nature. If I don't do what God says, he's gonna condemn me to this fire, and that's not necessarily the truth. God confesses to Moses because he's digging deeper, and he's asking.
Mm-hmm.
God says
Mhm.
that this is my name forever, a memorial unto all generations. That's the only time God says in the Bible that this is my name. I am that I am.
Yeah.
This is my name forever unto all generations. And we all have an I am that I am. I and my Father are one. There is God in me becoming one
Mm.
with me, so
Mhm.
that it's his intended purpose. If I look at you, right, I see a form. If I look in your eye,
Come
I see
on, say
myself.
it.
That is the I am that I am. When
Yeah.
God
Yes.
looks at you in the form, in the flesh, he understands that that's sin. Well, flesh and blood doesn't inherit the kingdom of heaven anyway. So it's the I am that God is who I am, the very spirit and life in me. The word and its etymology, spirit and breath are the same in its etymology. So we have to
Mm.
understand that I have to accept the I am that I am. The first Adam is known as Walter Fauntleroy. That someone named me that. But if I didn't have a
Yes.
name, if I had amnesia and didn't remember who I was, know who you were, I would still understand that I am.
And that I am.
Now that I'm a living soul, that's the first Adam. Well, the second Adam is what? Christ in me, right? Which is the hope of glory. So that becomes the journey.
Mm.
I have got to live my life experiences that has taken me from being just a living soul to a quickening spirit, which is a life-giving spirit. You go from
Yes.
being a living soul, the fallen nature, to the resurrection and the life, or the life that you want to live.
Mhm.
And that's
Mhm.
in the word. Why? Because in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. The same with God in the beginning. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made. In him was
Mhm.
life, and that life was the light of the world. But the light shineth in the darkness of men's consciousness, and we comprehended it not. We're developing and we're creating, but we're creating it in sin, in the wrong direction. We're missing the mark. But when we get a God kind of impulse and we feel it
Mhm.
jump within our womb,
Mhm.
then it becomes like, oh God, this is an idea that I had, and we consider it a miracle. Well, that you just tapped it, you
Mm.
cast your into the deep finally. You wasn't catching anything on the
You
left
gotta
side of
come
the boat.
on.
You found it on the
Yes.
Yes.
right,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
you're bringing in the harvest. So
Yeah.
it's me and understanding me, not just the human being, but the spirit God being too.
Yes. And
Yes.
seeing that connectivity. I remember when we met on the set of
Mhm.
the Oval, And one of the things you said to me that stuck with me, and I think I cut you off being too excited about it, but one of the things you said to me, when I look deep enough into your eyes, I see me.
That's
So
right.
that shows how connected we are. That's that ocean
right.
drop connection. And
That's right.
then we have to realize that the person that we see in the mirror is not the real us. We are much
That's right.
deeper than that. We are
Mm.
That's
much,
right.
and it's not the person that you see in me. You see someone other than the person I see in the mirror. So it's
That's
all
right.
tied together in a magnificent way. And
Mm.
when we talk about us as actors, see, you know, many actors master technique. You got one, I've got one. We know what we're doing, we do what we do. But not all are willing to be seen inside that work.
That's right. That's right.
So where did you learn the difference between performing and revealing? There's a difference, right?
Yeah. This started with a gentleman by the name of Akeem Babatunde. His brother is big in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know him as Oba Babatunde. He was
Mhm.
Barry Gordy in the original Temptations back in the day. Played with Halle Berry in the Dorothy Dandridge movie. He's been in countless. See the original Cece and Dreamgirls. Well, I met Akeem Babatunde in Dallas when I started acting after high school, and he's a former Trinity rep actor and artist, and he was also a mentee of La Mama, you know, in New York, and so he's very connected, and he's a brother. And when I started out, I understood I was just having fun. I was booking things off of just being young and confident, I guess. I didn't know anything about the art and the craft of acting. And when I got with him, it became like boot camp, military, everything was, you know, he's on you. You know, he wouldn't let you rest on your laurels. And so he taught me very early on that we can never do that. That it's our job as artists to always, you know, make sure that we're serving, you know, in ways that's not self-serving. And so I got that very early. I just being around it for so many years, you know, just let me, you know, taught me, you know, that I already had that desire. But once I had that, you know, mentorship too, it just reinforced what was already there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So, having you explain that, when you step into a role, what parts of yourself are you still negotiating with? Not fully resolved, but present in the work.
Excellent question.
Yeah, I think there's always this wrestling match, right? Because I'm a man of faith, but where good is, evil's always present. So fear is always lurking in the corner, right? I've just learned to transform that fear into excitement and use it as motivation for fuel and the fire to keep going. Because even as great prophets, I've experienced a lot of great men and women in the world. And that's the thing that makes us human. I think we all have doubts, right? And insecurities. But I think we also know that serves, sometimes those nerves serve in a way that propels us forward. When we don't get stuck in the mud of it, right? We don't get stuck in the stink of it. We understand that sometimes we might feel like we can't, but if we just take steps, and I've been here before, I'm used to this. If I don't focus on the wilderness, I won't keep wandering around this idea. I got to move towards the promise. That's the land that I plan to occupy. And even when you start moving into the promised land, there's war, there's a fight. You know, it's not like they just gonna hand it over. And oftentimes there's a desire there. I look at it as the Cain and Abel experience, right? Because you have a desire to do something. You know, Cain was the tiller of the field or the earth, but Abel was the keeper of the sheep, right? And so the tiller of the field is showing what I can do by my own power and by my own might. Look what I did, God. But Abel was saying, listen, no, I'm keeping your word. Because even as kids, when we couldn't sleep, we count the sheep, right? So the word, the sheep represent the word, the divine word. I'm staying in line with your divine will, your divine principle. And so when I get an idea from God, Abel is receiving that, right? But who's lurking? Who's trying to draw me out to the field to kill it out of me? Cain. Like something says to start this business is going to change my life. But there's that discouragement. Cain trying to kill it out of you. And it's going to kill, it'll keep killing it out of you until eventually the blood will cry out. And maybe then, you will do something different. But it's always there to make, it's like, that's what I love about acting in a sense, because, or being an artist even, because you're always creating. And every time you create, you have to start back at one. It's never like, and it's that creation is never the same. It is, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? It's like having kids. I don't love any one of you any more than the other. And the process of making you is all the same, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it's the same thing with acting. Each role I play feels like, how did I raise this child? Did I teach it good manners? Does it have, if it's a bad character, did I teach it bad manners? You know what I'm saying? What was behind raising this individual to become this way? And now let me put it on display, So it's planting the seed, cultivating it, and then just allowing it to just, let the aroma, let people appreciate it, have it.
Yeah. So in essence, then that's the part that that you've learned how storytelling and life are connected. The truth you discovered through storytelling that you didn't learn from life alone. What's the truth that you discovered through that storytelling that you didn't learn through life alone? Yeah, it's all tied up.
Yeah,
I like that, because it's like it's symbolic in a sense, especially when you utilize the Cain and Abel scenario. So very symbolic, and I love that.
It all into life. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Walter, do you believe that people are drawn to a story because it simply entertains them, or because it recognizes something in them they haven't yet found language for?
No, I think, once again, there's no coincidences. I go back to the thought process that energy flows where attention goes. And you don't necessarily have to be focused visually on something. I could be right here, right now, but be somewhere else in my mind. Where do I dwell? Right? Where do I dwell? Somebody could be having the best life outwardly and they dwell in hell. Right? And so it's understanding where do I dwell right here? Am I so concerned about what other people think? Am I so concerned about being jealous and envious of other people? What's driving where I am and where I'm going? Because oftentimes I think we look at life like, okay, I'm having this experience, but it's passing me by. That's not how life works. Life is like a boomerang. Life is like an echo. Whatever I think and feel is what I'm going, those are the tracks that I'm going to travel moving into my future. So it's not like if I plant the seed, I'm going to see the result later on, however I cultivate it. You see what I'm saying? Am I cultivating the seed or am I cultivating the weed? And so we have to understand that it's our thought and our words and our feelings that are doing it. It's understanding that that's the true Israel that I am, right? That part of me, the Isis spirit part of me, the feminine, the mind of God, the Ra part of me, the Amen Ra part of me, and the El, the power of God in me becoming one, when activating when the two become one. The masculine and the feminine, Israel. There's a power that, like you have Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, in terms of the angel. This is all a messenger that is coming with a powerful message. God is saying, even in its etymology, El in the mythic religion, or El Shaddai, is God Almighty, right? So we understand that this is the power of God So
Yes.
once I allow the thought in my mind to get into the soil of my emotions, it's like in Mother Nature. The seed goes into the ground. The seed is that big, and you can't even hardly see the seed. But once it goes into darkness, what's developed in that darkness depends on the seed. But I have to be I got to be like the photographer in that dark red room in terms of how I want to develop. Is this image going to come out blurry? Is it going to come out undeveloped? Or is it going to come out crisp and clear? And so it's understanding that as an individual, it's my job to cultivate what I'm thinking, which determines what I'm feeling. And then that's going to give birth to the life that I live.
Absolutely. And in essence, when Linda said everything comes back full circle, in order to cultivate, we first have to, because in the beginning, you talked about that. It's also remembering who you were to begin with. Because in order to cultivate, you have to know, and you have to be one with that remembering and that becoming of who you were always meant to be. And I love this conversation, and we could delve in even further. I just want to give some highlights here to some amazing supporters. They're all giving you the claps. Then Tika threw up the purple hearts, and oh, hello, Mrs. Simpson and Mr. Simpson. My family's here as well, and they said facts, all caps, exclamation, exclamation. Gratitude.
Right.
That's great.
So deep. So, we love conversations such as this, and knowing that you're a man of faith, and you talk about masculinity, and of course throughout this interview so far we're talking about growth and remembrance and all of that. Faith is often spoken about in certainty, but for most people experience it in tension. What has your faith had to survive to become what it is today?
Yeah.
Oh, so much. I feel like Roots and Kunta Kinte. It feels like I've been so much.
Well, that song today, the drums hit that nail on the head.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I've had a lot of that. I mean, I've been Andy Dufresne in the Shawshank Redemption. But for me, I think faith is everything. I think I've always had it. I mean, this was my dream when I was like 4 or 5 years old for some reason. I don't even know. But I've always been driven to this life. And I relate it to a quick story. When I was a network administrator for years, right? And I had lived that life. I was just getting started on my journey, and I was working with a lot of guys that were about to retire, right? A lot of the older guys, they started in the field, but they were push jobs now. But they were close to retirement, and I'm getting started. And they were doing great retirement in terms of money and finances and lifestyle and everything that they had acquired. And I looked down that path, and I was like, that looks good. But there's something else in me that I'm running from. And it got to the point where life was so hard. It just seemed like, that's why I say energy flows where attention goes. I'm not just saying it, it's not cliche. And I know the allure before was constantly knocking at my door. And I was constantly answering. So it's not a cliche term that I'm saying, this is experience. But what I found was another path that I was afraid of. And whoever's out there listening, maybe you got a dream. And it doesn't matter when your dream activates. But I think it's important to follow that path. I looked at it at that time like these were coming attractions to previews. That's why I was having these previews. Life was giving me previews of a life I could have. But did I want that to become an attraction? Or did I want to go and take the safe path? And so for me, despite all the fear and the doubt and the uncertainty and the insecurity that I had to overcome, I knew that I was man enough to, at least spiritually, as a spiritual man, bold enough to take that step because I had seen the previews of the coming attractions. And it had to be for we, not just me. I had 3 sons. I had, at the time, 2 sons that were looking up to me in my mind. And I was always playing with them. What do you want to be? What do you want to be when you grow up? Where you going to college? What are you doing? And stuff like that. And one day it hit me because I felt like a hypocrite. I had a great career, but I was in a job that I did not love. I had a life that I loved, but I didn't want to live. I didn't want to be the resurrection in my life for it. Why? Because it was scary. Why? Because I had responsibility. Why? Because it was hard.
Right.
I didn't know how to act. I was just doing it. But I grew to the point where life was frustrating me, where I said, "Dang, all of that, I'm going for it. If not for me, for we." It was almost like, Father, if it be you, bid me to come. I'm stepping out of this boat, and even if I sink in the water, you're there. But I got to do it for my sons too, because I didn't want them to be wannabes. I said, y'all are gonna bees. And if dad has to step and fail, if nothing else, you'll at least learn from my mistakes and you'll keep going and prevail. And that was my motivation when I started.
Right. That kind of leads to this next question, because, you've been married for 30 years, right?
28. Mm-hmm, 28.
That's 30 as far as
but we've been together. We've been together 30 years. Yeah, we've been together
30 years.
Plus.
And it's not just a commitment. That's an evolutionary experience.
Yes.
So who did you have to stop being to sustain that level of partnership for her and the rest of your family? What did you have to stop?
Great question.
Yeah. Marriage has taught me so much about life. I wouldn't be on this path if it weren't for my wife. My wife was just very supportive from the beginning, and I didn't have a lot of colleagues, friends that had that. I just didn't. But she's always been there. If anyone has held themselves back, it's been me on many levels. And so I'm grateful for her completely. She's always believed. Now, she didn't always have the money to say do this, but she would throw me down. And she's always, I'm just saying that like Ryan. I didn't have Ryan Coogler's wife bought him an app, but what she gave was priceless. Like money didn't matter. She just believed in it. I moved out to LA with my entire family. I had less than $1,000 in my account.
Wow.
And so it's just a real faith move. It just happened to work. But I think faith is, and I've had, like I said, at least with my wife and family, I had great support, along this journey to get here. So,
I love that.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Yes, you speak highly of her.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, I love that, especially when you compare monetary with things that should be elevated beyond just the monetary means. And when you said that what she gave you was priceless, that in itself speaks so much volume of who you are as. And we know that there's a lot of noise around masculinity right now.
Yeah.
But from your lived experience, Walter, what does a man look like when he is fully present but no longer performing strength?
I think he's a reflection of his environment. I think that's anybody, right? And hopefully that environment is an environment of at least presence. It's easy for me to I speak like Paul in a sense, Paul in the Bible, right? It's just like at one point he was murdering Christians, right? But then he was changed, and then he realized that I'm the humblest and the lowest of the low based on what I was, and it's but by grace that I'm saved here, right? I could have been dead. I could have been in prison. So much, that I've been through, and other like-minded individuals that were just like me. I was just like them. Some of these guys that are dead or that went to prison, but a lot of those guys looked out for me too. And so now that I'm on the other side of that darkness, the last thing I ever look to is condemnation. Because I look at life like it's right now. There's a word that says there is now no condemnation to them that are in Christ, right? And so I'm in Christ. From my perspective, I am, right? But it's not because we said the prayer, coming to my heart, because that has nothing to do with it. But it's understanding that, right, it's always now. Like yesterday is gone. Tomorrow's not here, and when tomorrow gets here, what's it going to be right now? So time is not. It's a construct. You know, it's past, present, future.
Yes.
If you have matter, which is solid, liquid, gas, and space, height, width, depth. So we understand the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost, and all that kind of stuff. So we understand that it's not just one thing. And the infinity isn't in the future. Infinity includes the past and the future. So it's just.
Yes.
No one is being judged on any aspect of our life. I think the world is a world of educated darkness that God has pre-planned for us to fulfill. I'm just fulfilling what was written for me, because God in the scripture says that I have tried you in the furnace of affliction for my own sake. God is doing it. God sent his word forth to accomplish what it shall accomplish, right? And it should, he designed it that way. That whatever he designed it to be is going to be what it's going to be, and that word can't return unto him void. But in the end, in the beginning, he said, "Let's make man in our image." And so, what I expect is, in the beginning, if he was made me in his image, it has nothing to do with a form. It has everything to do with the spirit of who I am in this form, in this body, in this temple. The only thing, the thing that makes me like God is I have the ability to think and speak. No other animal has that ability. I have the ability to have faith. I have the ability to fear. I have the ability to make decisions, judgments, and stuff like that. So that's what makes humankind superior and understanding. But man, as me, like if I'm a male, that doesn't make me any better than a female, because in the beginning, God created man in his image. Male and female created he them, and called their name Adam. So wait, why if Adam is a man, why did he say he called their name Adam? Because Adam in its etymology just means a human being, earthling. God made men and women at the same time. Male and female created he them, called their name Adam. And if you look at all things in life, especially in terms of mankind, all things come from the atom. The male and female, ATOM, all male and female from that. And nature, all things are masculine and feminine.
Yeah, and they get hung up. They get hung up on that technicality of what they read, and they have to begin to see it literally. I mean, I think I shared this with you. They have to start looking at it metaphysically.
That's right.
As well. And
that's right.
You know, I look at things that have happened in my life that I've had to change and shift, right? That I thought were going to go one particular way. And the Holy Spirit said, no, I've been telling you for 10 years to go this way. You've been procrastinating. I want you to go that way. Yeah. Okay. And it has happened to me in a powerful way lately. Have you ever had a moment where everything looked aligned on the outside?
Yeah.
Internally, you knew something had to shift.
Yeah, I guess he brought it back around for me. I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it, because it was when I got with Tyler Perry. I was basically broke. It was the year before I got let go from my job, October 23rd, 2017. 4 days after I got let go, no, my wife got let go 5 days after I did. So we were both terminated right around Christmas.
Oh, man.
A few days after that, somebody asked me to do a play with them. And I had to learn this play that I was in about 90% of in 4 days. And then we were doing it for the mayor down in close to Rancho Cucamonga or something like that. And I had to learn this play in like 4 days over the Thanksgiving holiday. I learned the play, blah, 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 blah. Things kept going for me. I got some gigs here and there. Even though I was fired, I had to get on unemployment for the first time in my life. And then I came around to Thanksgiving again, and I was about broke. This is in 2018. But then I got an open call for the Medea Farewell Tour. And I did the audition. It was an open call. They sent it in, and I didn't hear anything. And then around the 15th to the 16th, I got a call back. And then they had to fly me from LA to Atlanta to do the stuff. And it was weird, but I ended up getting the gig, found out that night, came back. Then they immediately cast me in A Fall from Grace. And then I'm in back after we shoot a Fall from Grace in like 5 days, right before Christmas. I'm right back in Atlanta, January 1st, 2019, to do the Medea Farewell Tour. Tyler sits me down that day and tells me about the Oval and how he wants to take me with him. It all happened so fast, I didn't have time to be overwhelmed and scared and self-sabotage, right? But I knew on my journey that God, I felt haunted by the Spirit. Like you, Miss Linda, you was talking about God told you for 10 years. But I felt like something was on me. And every day I was still meditating twice a day. If I got 30 minutes or an hour sleep, I was still doing it twice a day. But I was running. I was running from something in my spirit. March 23rd, 2019, I decide, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, God, but I'm going to go on a 40-day fast. I'm going to fast in this way for 40 days because I'm tired of running. And I was going through some stuff on the tour that I didn't like and that didn't seem fair. But I was like, I just got to deal with it and just keep moving forward. Keep my eye on the promise. I'm going on this 40-day fast. 4 days into my fast, I almost died in my room in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm eating an apple, and I got to the point where it was something to snack on, crash services and stuff like that. It gave me something. I'm eating this apple, and I would eat the apple, and sometimes the stuff would get stuck in my teeth like popcorn. And so this particular day, I'm eating it, and I was like, oh, I got down to the core, and I was like, oh, I don't want this to get stuck in my teeth. Let me kind of chew it. And then I swallowed it. I was sitting on my bed in the hotel room. It started going down, and it slowed down, slow. It got about mid here in my chest and stopped. And I thought, that's weird. I look across the room. I see my bottle of water right next to the TV. I just think, I'll get my bottle of water. I got up, got my bottle of water, took a big gulp. It went down and came right back out.
Wow.
And then I realized I'm not breathing. I can't breathe. I can't breathe at all. I'm in my hotel room by myself.
Good God Almighty.
My whole world was just like, man, this is it. I thought when I got with Tyler Perry, this is it. My whole world is coming to, the way I needed to come around. And now it looks like I'm going to die. I kid you guys not. I look to the door. The door looked normal. I'm trying to figure it out. I look to the door again. The door looks pushed out like it's a hallway. I think to myself, what's going on? All of a sudden, I hear something. I don't see anything, but I hear something. Okay, well, it's okay. Don't panic. Don't panic. It's going to be all right. Don't panic. Don't panic. You just got to breathe, man. In my mind, I'm saying, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Yes, you can. You can breathe. You just got to breathe. Just breathe. Breathe right now. Breathe. I can't. In my mind, I said, I can't listen to you anymore. Whatever this is. And who the heck is that? What is that?
Right.
What is that? But I can't think about that right now because I got to breathe. I feel like, then all of a sudden, I feel like I'm in the ocean. And the water is taking me down and up. In my mind's eye, it's just I see beacons of light. And my wife and I, we would have FaceTime calls around this time. And before this, she would be like, what are those like light orbs around you? I was like, I don't know. What are you talking about? I see these lights. So she would take pictures and send it to me. I was like, I don't know what that is. This is leading up to it. And then all of a sudden I'm seeing these beacons of light. I'm like, what is that? All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm like, I feel like I'm running out of time. I'm starting to pace back and forth. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, it's like the voice comes back. I can't see it, but I hear it. And it's almost like it's in my face. Well, you got to breathe right now. And I mean, breathe with everything you got. You got to breathe right now. Do you hear me? You got to breathe with everything you got. It didn't feel nice now. It felt like the kingdom suffereth violence and the violence taken by force. It was like in my face, like commanding me, you better breathe right now or we're going to be dead on this floor in this hotel room. I'm like, I can't breathe. Yes, you can. Breathe. I mean, with everything you got. Breathe. And I tried with everything I got. I felt like a plant coming out of the soil. And I said, And I'm pulling with everything. And it said, do not stop. Keep breathing with everything. You don't stop. Keep breathing. And as I'm breathing, before my abdomen felt like it started to get pressure, like boom, 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 boom. And as I start breathing, it's almost like the air started seeping through those seed pockets or something. Because as I'm breathing, everything was hard to breathe. The air felt cold, like icicles going into my abdomen because it was hot down there. It seemed like I can't explain it. That's it. Keep breathing. Breathe, breathe, breathe. And then it's kind of like something said, now, like cough. That's the only way I can describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I forced myself to, it's like something kind of threw me. And then I landed on the floor and the pit came out on the floor.
Get out of Dodge.
And when I tell you, I know I would have been dead to rights. I was shaking up. I had to do a video afterwards. And then after I got settled, after about 10 minutes, I thought to myself, who was that? And I was like, God, who in the heck was that? And I heard I am that I am. And that this thing, and I saw something like a lotus flower. And it said, it's going to, I didn't understand what that meant. And it was like, it will unfold for you over the next 1,260 days, over the next 42 months. It will unfold for you.
That's what you did with that awareness. That's what you did with that.
That's right. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what that meant. But that basically, on some level, it crushed my dream. Because now acting didn't matter as much. My life was almost gone. And then something else happened in the process. Who was that? And so that became the precedent in my life ever since. I still love acting. I still understand that I'm supposed to serve in this way, but I don't think
but the desperation associated with it is gone. That's what I was going to tell you about Harry Lennox shared that most people who think they want to be an actor, they don't want to be actors. They just want to be famous. Right. You are a storyteller. I'm an actor. I'm a storyteller. It's not about the fame. It's not about the fortune. It's not about the money. It's about the way you think about the money. It's
absolutely
the train of your thought process. And to realize who you are and your purpose. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, fully aligned. And I just want to shed light back on our supporters. The Simpsons says, you are a true storyteller, for real, exclamation, in all caps, so powerful, with the player signs up. And the second act with, I believe, Malika Nicole. And
that's my wife.
Hello. Of course, gratitude for sharing it with us. Wow. And she said exactly, and Tika said, prayers. I mean, very powerful, and I'm grateful that you referenced that after that experience, something shifted for you, because I want to pose this. Before that experience, before that moment, who were you before then, and who are you after that moment?
Yeah, the person before, I think I was just dissatisfied with a lot, right? I was grateful for a lot. But I think before I saw myself more as a victim, right? And I feel like the difference. I felt like Ishmael, the donkey of the man. I felt like the animal nature part of me was dragging me in life oftentimes. And now I feel like I'm able to determine with the bit in the horse's mouth which direction I want to go. So whereas I was being dragged through life, I don't feel as labored in the way that the world doesn't feel like it's on me the same. I'm okay.
It doesn't define you.
Yeah, I'm okay with loss. People, when they die, I don't see it as them being because it's an everlasting life. I just see
Right.
them as going on to the next phase of their experiences.
Yes.
I celebrate it, like glory, hallelujah, whatever, you were. I'm not going to judge you by one moment or one chapter in your experience. Even if you got stuck there and stayed that for the rest of your life. I remember the good before that in a lot of people too. And so it just made me more considerate and empathetic for other
Mm-hmm.
people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And
Mr.
myself.
Rodney Washington, and I love it. Mr. Rodney Washington says, Walt, with
Oh
this,
yeah,
this
yeah,
so thank
Mr.
you.
Washington. Yeah, he helped me
Yeah,
out. He's one of the first brothers when I
thank
got here. He
you.
helped me out to get started. So I
Yeah.
appreciate my brother Rodney, Philadelphia, former
Wow.
Philadelphian Eagle fan. I salute
Yeah,
you,
from
brother.
East Coast. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Oh, gratitude.
what is something that you know now that would have changed how you moved earlier in your journey? Something that you know now that would have changed the way you
I
moved
think
earlier.
I think I can be very naive. So I think I would have taken advantage of opportunities because early on, like I had a lot of opportunities happen for me, but I just thought, well, I don't want to bother this person, even though they're helping me, because I don't want them to take it personally as if like I'm trying to use them for anything and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Mm-hmm.
realizing moments now that was a wonderful networking and
Yeah.
bonding, business building opportunity. Where I didn't do that, I was looking at the business aspect too personally.
Mm.
I've had a lot of wonderful people help me along the way. Omari Hardwick, Tasha Smith, Ben Guillory in the Roby Theater, Harry Lennox, been a benefit in my life. So many people, outside of Tyler Perry, Tracy Twinkie Bird,
Oh,
I can't think of Twinkie Bird's last name right now, but y'all know Twinkie Bird. She was
Yeah.
tremendous help, opportunity. So many wonderful people, but I
Yeah.
just thought, man,
yeah.
these people, I mean, like they're helping me already. Even with Tyler, I think it's things I'm like, I'm dragging my feet. He would text me sometime, and I'd be so busy in my own personal life. It'd be 3 or 4 hours later. I'd be like, oh man, hey Tyler, what's up, man? He's probably like, who is this guy? Hit me back the next day. I'm like, oh, I got busy, man. My bad.
Yeah.
So
I love
I think I would have tried to do that a little better. I would have been a little more conscientious in that way.
That's interesting because
Yeah.
every time I would see Tyler Perry, I would introduce myself. And he finally looked and said, why do you keep introducing yourself? I know exactly who you are.
who
So
you
I
are.
that the man know he paying me, so he know who I am. So let me quit
Right.
tripping. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Just some amazing people and humble for certain, when we look at you guys and all the other actors, as Linda said, sometimes people look at you guys and they're like, oh, they're just famous, and fail to understand that we're all humans, and
Yeah.
we are just like you, and I love that
Mhm.
you're so humble, and you're open with us on this platform and talking about you were naive and certain things that you had to
Mhm.
come into understanding. So we're just grateful that you opened up and allow us to share you intricately with our viewers. And
Thank you.
what I would like to ask you is, what does it mean for Walter to be seen clearly, not as a character, but as the man Walter?
Mhm. It's wonderful.
It yeah, just a great question. I'm at a point in my life where it doesn't matter so much anymore to be seen, and I think because of just what my life experience has informed me, and it's guided. I think I'm more interested in seeing other people and understanding their story and hopefully their glory and not the glory, because so many of us live up out of the residual output of our past regrets and defeats and
Yes.
failures, and And those things are really just the springboard to elevate us to the next level. And I think that's the
Yes.
main thing that we have to overcome. That's the devil that we fight, you know. And so on one side, there's a fallen nature, and then there's the ascended nature. We have to be resilient in pulling ourselves, or at least responding to the call to go higher.
Yes.
So I think at the end of the day, I like to see other people win. You know, it just motivates me, it encourages me, it inspires me, and I think that's the most important, step that I would like to see, not just within myself, but especially other people. Because it's no fun winning alone. It's great to win as a team too, and it's more gratifying for me, at least on many levels, to see so many of us win.
Yeah. In fact, you encouraged me when we were talking about doing this show. You were saying that you were very happy for this platform, and I appreciate that. It's not about fame. It's not about this. This platform is designed to share all the wonderful things that other people are doing, and your encouragement was very encouraging for me. So when people experience your work, what do you hope they feel? Not just understand. What do they feel? I think I know what you're going to say.
I hope they feel themselves, right? I hope that they can see something in me that they can see in themselves.
I knew it.
And respond to whatever that inspiration does for you. Just know if it means just, well, if Walter Fauntleroy can do it, I can too. And it doesn't have to be in the arts. It doesn't have, it doesn't have to be because you want to be an actor or a musician or an entertainer in that way. It might inspire you to go to school to be, an esthetician or a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer
or an architect or a mathematician.
Yeah, whatever. That's right. So whatever you're called, I think that's the higher call. You have to answer that. If something's telling you to go north and you go south, well, then that's not the inspiration I want to, try to inspire. You answer that higher call. You got to go in that direction. And so that's what I hope people gain from it.
Yeah.
I love that. Beautiful. So some of our favorite questions to pose. And so someone is watching tonight and they've been quieting their voice, holding back their truth. What would you say to them, not as an actor, but as a man who has lived, questioned, and grown?
Well, first thing I would say is ask the question, what do I want? And and that's just like, what do I really need? Like, right? And then set your sail. The winds will come, but it's important to have a port of destination, right? And so you don't want to be that ship that just languishes and floats at the harbor. If a ship needs a captain, and so it's important for you to determine where I want to go. You don't have to know how to get there. Just have the destination in mind. And I learned that from traveling as a military kid. No matter how many places I lived in Japan, I lived in Europe, and I've lived all over the world. Even I traveled all over the world, even as I got older. When I started off acting in the theater took me to Paris. Theater took me to Geneva, Switzerland, and performing for those audiences. I didn't know that. You don't have to know. All I knew is I wanted to be an actor. And you have to set a port of destination. When you go on vacation, you do that. You don't worry on the plane while you're there. Man, am I going to get there? Oh, man. Are we going to land in Paris? Are we going to land in Japan? No one's doing that. You have faith that since I booked the flight and this is where I'm going, this is where I'll land. Now, if I'm flying from LA to Arizona, that might only be an hour flight. But if I'm flying from LA to Paris, then that's going to be a 10, 12, 13-hour flight, depending on where you're going. And so you don't know how long it's going to take for you to get there. You just got to keep going. You got to keep growing.
Right.
So it's not a matter of just going that direction, but go and grow. You know, and by the time you get there, you'll like where you landed.
Yeah. That's the
I love
bottom
that.
line. Absolutely.
I love
Well,
that. I
Walter,
love that.
we got a lot of information scrolling down below about you, but I want you to please take this moment to share with our viewers where they may follow and support you. And are there any new projects that you can bring up or highlight in this conversation? I know one of them we can't say nothing about, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, everybody. I'm learning. I'm getting better about being more active on social media. At least that's what I keep telling myself. Uh, I got on social media kicking and screaming a little bit,
oh,
years ago.
tell me about it.
But I am grateful for it. I'm on Facebook, but I'm hardly on Facebook anymore. Most of the Facebook stuff I do is through Instagram. But
Right.
I'm mainly on Instagram, but I'm hardly on there. Like I don't have to check my stuff, be on it. I just don't do a lot of stuff like that just in my free time. But I'm Little Lord Font on most platforms. That's LILFAUN. Well, LIL Lord LORD Font FAUNT. On most, that's my handle on most platforms. I'm on the Threads. I think that's a new one I got on there, and then Instagram. And it's just my name, Walter Fauntleroy, on Facebook. I
Yeah.
don't know if
Yeah.
I'm on anything else, but that's pretty much it. So,
Yeah, probably.
and it's not.
And we have his IMDb down below.
Oh yeah. And I wanted to say this too. Don't think that I'm calling myself a lord or anything like that. I got that from a book when I was a kid. It's called
Yes.
Little Lord
Or
Fauntleroy. And it was Little Lord Fauntleroy. It was a movie that was made with Ricky Schroeder, and I think someone else did it afterwards. And so, as a kid, it always resonated with me because I saw it. It used to play it on TV. And then as I got older, I was like, "Oh wow, that's a nice little handle," because it's because the story has to do with love and forgiveness. And I thought that was a nice kind of underbelly or
it's a good movie. I've seen it. Y'all need to go watch it.
for my own
Yeah,
self.
y'all
It's alignment. It's alignment. Everything is aligned.
That's right.
Listen, you don't need to feel any kind of way. I got a cousin calls himself Lord Sharif.
Sharif.
So,
Okay.
our Lord.
He's gonna get you.
I usually call you King Brother, but hey, I understand. So we want our listeners to know a meaningful story. It doesn't just entertain, right, Michelle?
It doesn't. It calls something forward within us.
And sometimes the story we've been waiting to hear is the one we've been afraid to live.
Absolutely. And perhaps tonight's conversation is just that, an invitation to listen more closely to the stories that we carry within us.
Yes.
And we just want to say thank you very much for tuning in, sharing your vision, your journey, being the storyteller that you are. You shared so much with us, Walter, and we are grateful that you came on Infinite Perspectives and just opened up the floor for so much more and gave the viewers exactly what they needed tonight. Truth and the form of storytelling that we all need to go back to. I am Michelle Diamond.
And I'm Linda Boston, and I hope we call our boy Javon and make him show up here.
Javon's gonna get you.
I don't care.
That's it.
What we're going to do is invite you all to continue expanding your infinite perspectives.
Yes. Not by silencing your voice,
but by honoring it
and trusting it
and allowing your story to be heard.
This is Infinite Perspective,
where voices become vision. Good night.
And
don't silence.
That's right.
The story that's asking
to be lived. Yes. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Listen.
How you gonna change the things around you? Oh, what you gonna love inside of you? Oh, when you gonna hear his revelation?